Hello everyone, thank you for joining me. This is Ian from Device42, and this is going to be a 3 video series on how to get application dependency mapping up and running, as well as viewing some of the visualizations that it provides. These videos are going to assume that you've deployed the Device42 main appliance, a remote collector, as well as configured an instance of the Windows Discovery Service should you require dependency mapping for your Windows devices. Alright, so to get started, you'll come into Discovery and select the Hypervisor's NICS Windows options. The only options that support the application dependency mapping are going to be available through this Discovery job type, and you'll need to select the Star NICS option or the Windows option. So I'm going to select the Windows option here, give the job a name, and then enter in a simple CIDR block for Discovery. I'm also going to select my remote collector. The reason I'm assuming that a remote collector has been deployed is because it is required for application dependency mapping, specifically the ADM sampling interval portion. So I'm going to select my my remote collector. I can see that it has an instance of the Windows Discovery Service attached to it. If it had multiple instances, I could select a specific one if I wanted to, but for now I'll just pick the one that exists there. You'll also need credentials. I'm going to use something simple as an example. Now, once you have all of this set up, you've got your remote collector connected and begun this initial configuration. One of the most important pieces is going to be this ADM sampling interval. This is what's going to make periodic connections to your machines, gather netstat related information, and really start to build out those topology charts and dependency mapping details that we'll see in a couple minutes here. So as you can see, they range they vary pretty greatly. Everything from 24 hours down to 5 minutes. For Windows, I would recommend starting with, this will vary depending on the number of devices you're trying to discover and do dependency mapping on, as well as how talkative those applications are. But as a baseline, I would probably recommend starting with Windows, but in the 4-hour range, 2 to 4 hour range, and then if you're doing this against Linux, I would start at the 1 to 2 hour range. It's always better to kind of start a little bit on the higher end, and if you find you're not getting everything you're looking for, you can either pare back the sampling interval to something smaller or create another job that targets a smaller subset of devices. Having said that, that's really all you'll need to get application dependency mapping. I do want to recommend adding a schedule here. This is going to run this job as a whole on a scheduled basis, pull in all the other information that might be discovered on the machine, such as software. And then the other piece is the software and applications tab down here. These options that you see checked here, they're going to be checked by default as you create a new discovery job. One I would recommend including as well is the store application components config files option. This is going to provide details that can be pulled from your application configuration files, and you'll be able to see those in a few different places in Device42, as well as potentially on the dependency maps that get generated. Now, once this job runs to completion, what happens is a periodic job is created based on the ADM sampling interval that you selected. These can be found in Analytics, Discovery Status, and then Periodic Jobs, and you'll be able to see a list view of those broken out into whether they are related to dependency mapping, resource utilization, or power monitoring. And so once that job runs to completion those periodic jobs get created and can be viewed here. Alright, so let's hop over to a topology chart so you can see what the results of that will look like. Now again, this is created automatically through Discovery and as a result of the application dependency mapping. So the topology chart here is going to consist of the global view, showing a bird's eye view of the connectivity to your target machine, indicated in the breadcrumb trail here by the green circle in the middle, as well as this brown box on the right hand view. The local view is really going to show you what those dependencies are based on and what kind of services or processes are initiating or listening for those connections. So again, the brown box is my target machine. The green boxes are other servers that I see communicating with my target machine. The purple circles are service instances that have been discovered and potentially see communications with. And then the light yellow circle here is an app component, and that's created as a result of some fingerprinting that we do via Discovery. So we look at installed software packages, any running processes, any listening ports, and create that application component that ties all of that together. And so as you've been seeing, I can hover over any of the objects here for additional details or links. If I hover over the MySQL process, I can see some details here, as well as links to the service page, or highlight or hide this service. I can also see the details potentially if that application component config file checkbox was enabled and pulled in some information. I can also hover over some of the devices communicating with my target server, hit expand, and grow the IT stack out to potentially see my database tier, my middleware tier, and then my web tier. That is a quick overview of configuring application dependency mapping within Device42, as well as the topology chart that is shown initially. Please join me in my next video where I talk a little bit more about affinity groups and how they can help clean up some of the noise that is viewable or that occurs in the topology charts here. Thank you.